Wealth doesn't begin in a bank account, a business plan, or a perfect opportunity. It begins in the invisible world, long before anyone else can see it. Every fortune, every empire, every breakthrough that reshaped history started as a silent thought inside someone's mind. And what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not talent, not luck, not connections, but the ability to turn a simple thought into a force that bends reality. Most people treat their thoughts like passing shadows, drifting in and out without direction. But a few understand that a thought, when held with intention and fed with belief, becomes the blueprint of a new life. It becomes the seed that grows into wealth, freedom, and legacy. That the truth is straightforward but uncomfortable. Your outer world reflects your inner world. If your mind is cluttered with doubt, fear, excuses, and hesitation, your results will mirror that chaos. But if your thoughts are shaped with clarity, purpose, and conviction, life begins to align with them. You attract ideas you were once blind to. You recognize opportunities that others overlook. You start acting with a kind of calm certainty that cannot be faked. Wealth is built on this alignment. The moment when thought and action begin moving in the same direction. Think about every great builder of wealth in history. Before the inventions, before the companies, before the fame, they had a single idea that refused to let them go. They carried it like fire. They protected it, nurtured it, fed it with discipline and belief, until it became their reality. That's the power people underestimate. They chase money but ignore the source. They chase the result but neglect the cause. The real engine of wealth is inside you, not outside. It's the quiet decision to reshape the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond to failure, the way you walk into each day. You don't need $1 million to think like someone who builds millions. You don't need approval, permission, or perfect timing. You need a vision that refuses to die and the belief to build toward it, even when the world offers no validation. Wealth always begins long before evidence. It begins when you decide to trust the picture in your mind more than the circumstances around you. That's what the world's greatest achievers understand. Your thoughts set the direction, your actions give them form, and your discipline keeps them alive long enough to turn into something real. Most people dismiss their own thoughts. They have ideas, dreams, plans, but never elevate them from wishful thinking to purposeful intention. They let fear drain their potential before action ever begins. They let doubt erase their vision before it has a chance to grow. They spend years waiting for the right time, not realizing that thoughts require attention now, not someday. The mind is a factory producing either excuses or possibilities, depending on how you train it. Wealth begins the day you choose possibilities over excuses, commitment over comfort, and clarity over confusion. Your thoughts are not small. They are not powerless. They are not idle. They shape the quality of your decisions, the boldness of your actions, and the height of your aspirations. If your thoughts stay small, your life stays small. If your thoughts stay vague, your results stay aimless. But when you take control of the inner dialogue, when you feed your mind with direction instead of doubt, everything begins to shift. Suddenly, you're not reacting to life. You're authoring it. This is where transformation begins. Recognizing that your greatest wealth-building tool is your mind. Before strategies, before systems, before execution, you must become the kind of thinker who creates wealth from nothing. You must become someone who holds a vision so clearly that it starts shaping your behavior even when no one believes in it. Wealth is not just built by skill, it is built by inner alignment. And the moment you understand that your thoughts are the starting point of every fortune, you unlock the ability to design your future, not just endure your present. This is where your journey begins. Not with money, not with resources, but with a powerful decision to take control of the thoughts that guide your life. Because once your mind is aligned with your vision, everything else becomes possible. The mind becomes dangerous the moment you train it to focus, because focus is the filter that separates the essential from the noise. Most people never build wealth because their thoughts scatter in 1,000 directions. They want success, but they're distracted by every opinion, every setback, every fear, every shiny temptation that pulls them off course. Focus is the discipline of refusing to let the world shape your mind. It is choosing your vision over your impulses, your purpose over your distractions, your future over temporary comfort. When you narrow your attention, something powerful happens. You stop leaking energy. You stop wasting hours trying to please people who don't understand your goals. You stop fighting meaningless battles. You stop drowning in doubt and start feeding your mind with clarity. Focus turns your thoughts into fuel. It transforms ideas into strategy, and strategy into movement. Wealth grows fastest in the mind of a person who protects their attention like a treasure, because that attention decides everything. Your habits, your actions, your standards, your outcomes. If you look closely at those who reach extraordinary levels of success, you'll notice this pattern. They think differently because they guard their minds differently. They don't allow negativity to take root. They don't entertain excuses. They don't surround themselves with people who drain their ambition. They curate their environment the same way a gardener pulls weeds. With intention, with urgency, with understanding that what you allow around you grows inside you. Your thoughts need space to expand. They need silence. They need distance from chaos and proximity to purpose. When you create that environment, even the simplest idea can evolve into something remarkable. But when your mind is flooded with noise, doubt, and distraction, even the greatest idea dies before it can breathe. Wealth doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from thinking clearly. Clarity builds direction. Direction builds momentum. Momentum builds wealth. When you take ownership of your inner world, you stop reacting and start creating. You begin to understand that the mind obeys whatever you consistently feed it. Feed it fear, and you'll shrink. Feed it excuses, and you'll stagnate. Feed it anger, and your vision will blur. But feed it purpose, discipline, belief, and possibility, and it becomes unstoppable. A well-trained mind is a wealth-generating machine. It sees doors where others see walls. It sees solutions where others see obstacles. It sees opportunity in places where most people would quit. This is why discipline isn't just about action. It's about thought. You must become disciplined in what you allow into your mind. You must decide which thoughts deserve to stay and which must be pushed out. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every fear deserves your attention. Not every memory deserves to define your future. You have the power to redirect your thinking the moment it starts drifting toward doubt or negativity. That ability is your advantage. It's what separates people who create wealth from people who only wish for it. Once you learn to command your thoughts, everything else becomes easier. Your habits, your decisions, your direction. You start moving with intention instead of impulse. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building foundations. You start noticing how every hour can either lift you or hold you back. And because your thoughts are clear, your path becomes clear. And a clear path is the fastest way to wealth. Wealth begins in the mind, but it grows through mental discipline. And discipline begins the moment you choose which thoughts will shape your life and which thoughts you refuse to let in. The world may try to influence you, but your mind is yours to command. When you protect it, train it, sharpen it, and direct it, your life begins to rise to the level of your thoughts. Wealth begins as a whisper, a quiet idea, a spark, a possibility that flickers in your mind long before anyone else can see it. But most people never rise because they ignore these whispers. They shrug off their ideas, talk themselves out of their potential, and silence their own instincts. They wait for permission that will never come. They hesitate because the beginning feels small. Yet every fortune, every empire, every breakthrough started exactly that way. As a single thought someone dared to respect, the mind becomes dangerous once you stop treating your ideas as accidents and start treating them as assignments. Wealthy thinkers do not ask, "Is this possible?" Instead, they ask, "What must I do to make it inevitable?" That shift, from doubt to responsibility, changes everything. When you assume your vision is achievable, your brain begins searching for solutions instead of excuses. It starts building bridges where fear once built walls. This is why imagination is not childish. It's powerful. Every structure on Earth was once invisible. Every invention lived first inside someone's mind. Every business existed in thought before it existed in reality. The world is shaped by people who dared to believe that what they saw in their minds deserved to live outside of it. Wealth does not reward the timid, it rewards the imaginative. It rewards those who refuse to let their inner world be limited by the outer one. But imagination alone is not enough. Thoughts must be focused, directed, and fortified. A scattered mind produces scattered results. A disciplined mind produces disciplined outcomes. The wealth you want requires mental strength, the kind built through repetition, through habit, through training your inner voice to speak power instead of fear. Because wealth doesn't come to the person who only dreams. It comes to the one who trains their thinking until their vision becomes unbreakable. There will always be moments when doubt tries to sneak in, when the path becomes unclear, when the noise of life grows loud enough to shake your confidence. That is when your thoughts matter most. Not when everything is going well, when everything is being tested. Your reaction in those moments reveals what you truly believe. Successful people are not fearless. They are trained. They have conditioned their minds to respond to uncertainty with clarity. Rather than panic, they don't surrender to the storms. They anchor themselves in purpose. They understand that challenges don't block the path, they sharpen it. Every struggle strengthens the mental fortress they're building. Every setback teaches them resilience. Every delay makes the outcome more valuable. A strong mind sees obstacles as part of the process, not a sign to quit. And that perspective transforms the journey. It takes the pressure that crushes most people and turns it into fuel. But to think this way, you must stop letting your emotions dictate your decisions. Emotions are temporary. Vision is permanent. If you allow fear, frustration, or impatience to control your choices, you will sabotage your own progress. A mind that chases feelings will never build wealth. A mind that chases purpose will. Wealth is built by people who do the right thing, even when they don't feel like it, who show up when others walk away, who stay committed long after the excitement fades. Your thoughts must lead your emotions, not the other way around. When the mind leads, discipline follows. When discipline follows, consistency becomes natural, and consistency is the soil where wealth grows. It doesn't matter how slow the progress feels. What matters is that you keep moving, keep thinking with intention, keep building from within before you build anything outside. The world eventually bends to the person whose mind refuses to break. Some people look at success and see luck, but luck is simply preparation meeting opportunity. Preparation begins with what you repeatedly think about. If your thoughts are aligned with your goals, your preparation will pull opportunities toward you. But if your thoughts are full of doubt, hesitation, or fear. Opportunity will pass you by, because your mind won't recognize it when it arrives. Your life cannot rise higher than your thinking. Once your thoughts begin to align with your purpose, the next step is action. A thought without movement is like a seed planted in a vase without soil, promising but unable to grow. Wealth does not materialize from contemplation alone. It materializes when your mind compels your hands, your decisions, and your energy to follow. The most successful people in the world understand that thought is the blueprint, but action is the construction crew. Ideas alone remain dreams. Ideas executed with consistency and discipline become reality. Action must be intentional. Random effort produces random results, and random results rarely create wealth. Every step you take should be measured against the vision in your mind. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to the life I'm building, or does it feed the distraction of today? Discipline in action is the bridge between a thought and a tangible outcome. Even the smallest step, if repeated daily with purpose, compounds over time into massive transformation. The mind cannot create wealth in isolation. It requires the courage to act, the patience to continue, and the audacity to persist when nothing seems to be happening. This is why resilience becomes indispensable. Your thoughts may guide you, but life will test them. Obstacles will appear, doors will close, and people will doubt you. But the mind trained in purpose will see every challenge as a lesson rather than a blockade. Resilience is the muscle that keeps your vision alive when the world presses back. It turns rejection into redirection, failure into feedback, and resistance into reinforcement. The wealth you desire is not built in comfort. It is forged in pressure, trial, and the refusal to quit. To sustain momentum, you must also guard your environment. The world is filled with invisible forces attempting to weaken your mind, toxic influences, trivial distractions, and negative voices that seek to convince you that your vision is impossible. Wealth is built by those who consciously curate the information, energy, and company they consume. Just as a gardener removes weeds that threaten a plant, you must remove anything that stunts your mental growth. Protect your mind, because it is the only place where your wealth truly begins. Next comes clarity of intention. Thoughts alone can drift into vagueness if they are not anchored by a crystal clear purpose. The mind capable of generating wealth does not simply wander. It decides, focuses, and commits. Ask yourself daily, what am I creating? Why does it matter? How will I make it real? These questions refine your thinking, sharpen your actions, and align every choice with your vision. Clarity transforms chaos into strategy, confusion into a plan, and hesitation into forward motion. Imagination plays a vital role here, but not as an escape. It is a tool for creation. Wealthy minds visualize their future so vividly that the impossible becomes plausible. They see outcomes not yet visible in the world and begin engineering them in reality. They rehearse victory in thought before it manifests in action, and by doing so, they reduce fear, increase confidence, and sharpen their focus. The mind that imagines well, executes well. The mind that executes well, builds wealth. Finally, cultivate gratitude and perspective. Wealth is not just the accumulation of resources, it is the recognition of growth. Every small victory, every insight gained, every lesson learned, feeds the mind with energy to continue. Gratitude trains your thoughts to focus on possibility rather than scarcity, on solutions rather than problems. Perspective allows you to measure progress accurately and avoid the trap of comparison or envy. Both transform your mental environment into fertile ground for wealth. But when thought, action, resilience, clarity, imagination, and gratitude converge, a unique force emerges, an unstoppable engine of creation. It does not matter where you start. It does not matter how limited your resources seem. Wealth begins as a thought, grows with discipline, and blooms when the mind refuses to surrender. You may stumble, you may fail, you may question yourself along the way, but each step becomes part of the blueprint, each challenge a test of your resolve, each victory a proof that thoughts can indeed be transformed into tangible wealth. By now, you understand that wealth is not simply about money. It is the byproduct of a mind that thinks with clarity, acts with discipline, and refuses to be broken by circumstance. But thinking and doing are not enough if your vision lacks precision. A vague aim produces vague results. Wealth is built when thoughts are directed, deliberate, and relentless. It is the focus on one thing that transforms energy into tangible outcomes. Every decision, every action, every ounce of effort must align with the future you are determined to create. The path to wealth is never linear. You will encounter setbacks that feel personal, failures that feel permanent, and obstacles that seem insurmountable. But the mind, trained for success, understands that these are not roadblocks, they are tests. They are refining fires that forge your character, sharpen your strategy, and stretch your capacity. The question is not whether life will challenge you, it is whether your mind is ready to respond with unwavering resolve to build wealth. You must also master the art of persistence. Persistence is more than stubbornness. It is the combination of patience, discipline, and relentless action. It is showing up when the excitement fades, acting when the world doubts, and continuing when every signal tells you to quit. Wealth favors those who are willing to endure the grind, who see the invisible threads connecting today's effort to tomorrow's reward. Every repetition, every hour invested, every thought carefully cultivated compounds into progress that is invisible to the untrained eye, but unstoppable once it reveals itself. Equally important is the mindset of learning. The mind that builds wealth never stops absorbing knowledge, refining strategy, and challenging its own assumptions. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every failure a teacher, and every success an opportunity to raise the standard. Complacency is the enemy of progress. Curiosity and a hunger for understanding allow your thoughts to evolve, ensuring that your strategies remain sharp, your vision remains relevant, and your actions continue to produce results. The mind that stops learning stagnates. The mind that learns relentlessly multiplies. Its capacity to create wealth, gratitude, and perspective are the invisible fuel for this journey. Recognizing the small victories, appreciating the progress already made, and understanding that every obstacle carries hidden value strengthens your resolve. Gratitude trains your thoughts to see abundance rather than scarcity, to focus on solutions rather than problems, to appreciate growth rather than lament setbacks. Perspective ensures that the mind does not overreact to temporary failures or inflate minor victories. It keeps the engine running steadily, efficiently, and intelligently toward the ultimate goal. Imagination remains the spark that lights the flame. The wealthiest minds visualize outcomes that do not yet exist, rehearse the future in thought, and then execute strategies that make those visions inevitable. They see opportunity where others see risk, solutions where others see only difficulty, and progress where others only notice stagnation. Without imagination, effort becomes mechanical, vision becomes short-sighted, and potential remains unrealized. Imagination transforms thought into innovation, planning into strategy, and strategy into achievement. And yet, even imagination requires discipline. Uncontrolled ideas become distractions. Unfocused vision leads to wasted energy. Wealth grows in the mind that is both creative and anchored, expansive and precise, imaginative and disciplined. It is the combination of these qualities, clarity, persistence, learning, gratitude, perspective, imagination, and disciplined action, that converts thoughts into measurable results. Without them, ideas remain fantasies, inspiration remains fleeting, and potential remains unfulfilled. Finally, understand that your mind is your greatest asset. Wealth does not arrive at your doorstep. It is drawn to those who command their inner world with authority. It is attracted to those who see possibilities where others see limitations, who create solutions when others surrender to problems, and who act with consistency when others rely on fleeting motivation. By cultivating thoughts that are purposeful, disciplined, and expansive, you establish a mental magnet that pulls opportunity, resources, and success into your life. The journey from thought to wealth is not easy, but it is guaranteed for the mind that refuses to quit, that refuses to wander, that refuses to compromise on vision. Your life is the product of your thinking. Train it, feed it, protect it, and direct it, and there will be no limit to what you can achieve. Every thought matters. Every choice matters. Every moment is an opportunity to transform your inner world into external success. The process is invisible, quiet, and often lonely, but the results are undeniable, lasting, and life-changing.